sure to hit that subscribe button. Be sure to like, be sure to share, be sure to comment. Yeah. Say hey. Say hey. Say hey. Say hey. Say hey. Motherfucking jackpot. We still jackpot, bitch.
And to time the market when is with now in the honeymoon phase of Hex, it's better just to stake, buy, stake for the long term, get those shares and collect the 40% APY on average. Why are you going to try to outtrade that 40% APY?
How you can say that with a straight face or not like laughing, giggling, and excited is like, it blows my mind, because you just said 40% APY. There is nowhere on the face of the planet where you're going to get 40% APY. It just doesn't exist anywhere, and to be pulling that off of a crypto that is solid and has been solidly doing these types of numbers is I mean, it's amazing to me that that's what we actually have in a cryptocurrency, is that type of APY, and that type of APY guaranteed by an immutable code. And I did say that. I said guaranteed. That's what we're getting right now. There's no way anybody can take your interest away from you that you've made. The price is going to dip and turn and jump and all that kind of stuff, but it's not going to take away your return on your Hex by staking it. So it's something very unique in the space in crypto. I mean, in investing period, you're just not going to get those type of gains anywhere.
Imagine what you might come back to when you run a 10 to 15 year stake. It's, when you put the numbers in the spreadsheet that I put together, it can be pretty impressive and almost seem unrealistic without even, manipulating the numbers that much. You don't need a $10 Hex to see a 7-figure profit when you have that long time horizon. And that was, by the way, I adjusted down to just 5 Hex per trillion shares for 15 years. And I understand it's going to be times it's greater than that, especially with emergency end stakes and your share percentage. So I think that's even very conservative there. I think when I did my video, I bumped it to say 35 cents at 15 years. This was with like 100 trillion shares staked. It wasn't anything huge, but you held that 15-year timeline. And then if you had your principal and big payday factored in at that price point, I think we're just like 1.4 million, maybe 1.2. So there's a lot of potential there. Of course, 15 years is a long time. I mean, I'm not gonna lie to you, that's a long time. But it's gonna come and go whether you do anything with it or not. So Andrew says, I remember a story of camping when I was a kid in Washington, and we met a guy camping next to us. He told my dad about a coffee company called Starbucks and told my dad to invest in it. My dad didn't listen. Well, there's always those stories out there, right? I mean, my mom, didn't get into eBay. We talked about it at the time. There's a story too of a guy, I think it's in Detroit. He's working at a factory, and this is where you can kind of go to this rags to riches story too. He bought into a company called, I think it was Tampax, right? And nobody had heard of it at that time. And then all of a sudden, boom! Now it's this market brand. Every woman uses it. So he made tons of money on that too. So there's always these new startups, new things. Look, McDonald's was that. Apple was that at one point in time.
And then usually if you hold long enough, you're gonna realize some gains, or you're gonna see some of these gains. And Hex, it's only been, the bear markets have been very quick.
Yes.
And sometimes they've been prolonged, but they seem to be, dependent on what's going on at the time, but they seem to be kind of bought up pretty quick, and then, chop, and then we take the next leg up. But another analogy I wanted to bring back to Hex was, I know you're not a boomer, but you're like the tier below, but I'm sure you were around in the 80s when interest rates were in the teens, right? They were 10 for a little bit. 15,
well, that's when they were teaching us how to save in savings accounts, and we did, and you put in there, and that was a decent return. I don't think it was quite that high, but it might have been. I don't know, but
it got there. Yeah, at one year, I think it was like 18.
Yeah, and I mean, and that was good, and saving made sense back then, and CDs and savings bonds and muni bonds and all those things made sense back then. Now, not so much.
Hexican, but it's supporting the community, and by them supporting the community and you speaking on their coin and promoting, hey, look, this is something fucking good. Well, that in the long run is going to be good for the person promoting you anyway. Who gives a shit if they're tabbing you on their computer and they walk and go do some grocery shopping or something?
Right.
But that's the mentality that I believe all Hexicans should have. On every single channel that promotes their product of Hex, our coin, we should be highly supported, because in the long run, it's going to enable us to do what we need to do. We'll be able to go out there as billionaires and fucking make the world a better place, because that's what we want to do. It's been obvious. It's been defined.
Who's amazing with that is BallietBran. BallietBran sets the example to me in my mind of exactly what you're saying, what a real selfless Hexican is. It doesn't matter how many times a week I stream. It doesn't matter what's going on in the community. If somebody new, somebody's on again, BallietBran is supportive. He's not only retweeting it, he's in there, he's in that chat that day. He might just stop by for a minute, but you can guarantee he's stopping in the chat and saying, throw a like on this YouTube video, or leaving a comment there. He's so consistent and such a great inspiration to me. I love that he's my friend now. It's amazing. And when, like you said, I don't do it enough. I try to, but I'm not making it my duty to do it. And it's really just simple to show up, log, hit that like button, hit that follow button for everybody. If you saw a new streamer today, Michael, I forget his full name right now. I apologize, Michael, but it's first time streaming today. We could have made a big deal out of that as a community. I failed there. I didn't jump on and retweet his stream and, throw him a comment in it. And, how much did I appreciate that when I first started, that BallietBran was there for me, that there was another handful of Hexicans that showed up that first day and rode with me till today, and give me the confidence to keep going.
What's interesting? I'm the same way. And I think that mentality that you just presented is absolutely warranted. BallietBran, by the way, an amazing Hexican. He was definitely, on my streams, dropping donos and promoting me, retweeting. Like he's that guy, and there needs to be more BallietBrans, just to continue, putting forward the content, and really taking appreciation to the people who push our content creators like you. Again, I love what you're doing. You need to go up in the ranks, because this here is so unique, but so needed, especially now with the whole pandemic. You are doing God's work, man. You're not doing work for yourself. This is something different. Okay?
Thank you, Joker.
Absolutely.
Brand just asked too, like, not even why I'm saying all this. Bran asked for, I said to DM you, but now that we're talking about Bran asks Joe, what is Joker's ETH address to donate to? Right. So that's tonight. That's right now, a few minutes ago. I mean, that's who Bran is, just so, I mean, DM him, please. Bran's an inspiration to us all. And for you to go ahead.
I love Bran. Man, he's such a giving soul, man. We need,
Absolutely.
again, we that type of love is like, it's unmatched. And that's all in the Hexican community, guys. Like it's so fucking unique. I've never seen a community like this in my entire life. Like look at what what's his name was doing. Ski Cat. He gave away $50,000, bro. Where do you see that?
Ski Cat gave me 500,000 hex on the 24-hour stream when I first came out and told my story. That was the first time, you know, in front of a large audience. There was 1,700 people watching. Maddie and I had been on for Hex Therapy Live, which we do Thursday nights after Hexologist. That was, you know, we're just learning. We're just figuring out the ropes. I went on that show. I provided my testimony. I didn't even know if I was going to talk because there was 10 people on screen at once. And for the first half hour, like my audio wasn't working right because my first time using StreamYard with a big group, I didn't have the settings right. And finally, like, it just came to an opportunity where, like I said, I didn't even think I was going to talk. And Hexologist looked over and said, "Hey, Joe, you know, what's your story with Hex?" And, you know, I said my story, and Maddie's made a video of this so I could see the comments as you know, I was providing my testimony, and nothing but love, just hundreds of comments of support. And then because of that support, you know, organically what happened was Ski Cat realized, you know, here's an individual that's been through the ringer, myself, and now he's here. And what did he do to help me? He donated 500,000 Hex, which at that time, Hex was at a penny. Just like it is today, it's a little bit over that. That was $5,000, you know, to somebody that I've never met. I don't know him. I don't know who he is. And like you just said, he's donated over 10 million Hex to people in the Hex community.
That's so amazing, man. That is so amazing. You know, again, it's a blessing. It's really a blessing, and we have the power to do it. Like, it's so unique, you know, and we have such outreach, and we know what we're about, and the coin's gonna explode, and we are the pioneering fucking content creators,
right?
Hex art, surely we've got a Hexican who's a tattoo artist, right? Surely. I think there's going to be a lot of people.
I don't think we do, because there was a bounty for like tens of thousands of dollars the other night, and nobody took it. So I don't think so.
Is it bad of me that I want it to be BallietBran? BallietBran, I want you to learn. I want you to become an expert in tattooing.
All right.
Become the world's best tattoo artist, right?
I have to change my username to don't ever send me money. Imposters everywhere. Richard Hart bracket. Don't ever send me money. Imposters everywhere bracket. That's fucked up, right? Like, I'm out there actually making an effort trying to stop the fucking scam. Everyone else is like, fucking that Richard, yeah, he's a scammer.
Call it a scam. Nobody really cares. We can tell you the only one that ain't prepared. Oh yes, I'ma be a millionaire. 5, a couple trillion shares. Oh no, I ain't getting wrecked again. Richard Hart, he got us set to win. We're a family, we all the best of friends. We ain't a cult, man, just call us Hexicans. ICOs, pump and dumps, they always try to take you. Buy low, sell high, I'm tired of your fake news. You need a token, you broken, you wanna see some massive gains? Lambo, new crib, model wife, cash and change. Look no further at your final destination. Don't be complacent every day when you paper chasing. Choose the best, leave the rest. Stop investing like you press. The only crypto that you'll ever need is Hex. Call it a scam, nobody really cares. We can tell you the only one that ain't prepared. Oh yes, I'ma be a millionaire. 5, a couple trillion shares. Oh no, I ain't getting wrecked again. Richard Hart, he got us set to win. We're a family, we all the best of friends. We ain't a cult, man, just call us Hexicans. Your investments are safe, it's got defenses. A mutable contract that pays trustless interest. I don't understand why everybody is hating. Hex is capped at 3.69 inflation. Shares are like hash rate. The higher you take her, the more daily interest that gets paid to the stakers. Always do your own research, don't listen to me though. It's complete, it can't be changed. Hex is finito. Call it a scam, nobody really cares. We can tell you the only one that ain't prepared. Oh yes, I'ma be a millionaire. 5, a couple trillion shares. Oh no, I ain't getting wrecked again. Richard Hart, he got us set to win. We're a family, we are the best of friends. We ain't a cult, man, just call us Hexicans. The game has changed, ain't no going back now. Dummies that called Hex a scam can back down. I hope you understand, I pray that you follow me. You owe the entire Hex family an apology. And stay sober, cash out, the game's over. Hex is here for the market cap takeover. Buckle up, we about to be full throttle. With multiple audits, it's where we get paid to hodl. We got the game smothered, sisters and brothers, with no expectation of the work from others. It's complicated, I know that there's a lot to this. For your daily Hex updates, tune to Hexologist.
What's up, guys?
Hex is like nothing that you ever been through, so sit back, relax, and enjoy the pumpamentals. If you like what you hear, by now, think twice. Just remember, yo, this ain't financial advice. Call it a scam, nobody really cares. We can tell you the only one that ain't prepared. Oh yes, I'ma be a millionaire. 5, a couple trillion shares. Oh no, I ain't getting wrecked again. Richard Hart, he got us set to win. We're a family, we are the best of friends. We ain't a cult, man, just call us Hexicans.
Thank you, Richard, for creating and founding the most amazing and disruptive financial technology cryptocurrency ever. Thank you, sir. And nice streams, Mr. BallietBran.
Hey, what's up, everybody? BallietBran here. Sunday. Just wanted to say, good afternoon, good morning, wherever it is, wherever you guys are. Hope everyone. Sorry about that. I hope everyone's doing well. So today we're going to cover just some information. We had the HEX Changes conference that just ended yesterday, and it was actually a really successful conference. So kind of just want to cover some information. We got Marco in the chat. We got Bitfinesse. We'll definitely have to chit chat and after the stream, and Togo Shige. Let's see. We got Extremely Desirable. So we actually got another Hexican streaming too for like a 4-hour stream that Ryan was doing. And I was watching that and debating on doing my stream, but I want to stay on time and want to stay reliable, even if another Hexican is streaming. So since he was going for about 4 hours, I decided I'd still continue to do my stream. So hope everyone's doing well. It's Sunday. We're gonna take a look at what Hex is doing. We're gonna answer any questions that people may have regarding Hex. Hey, nice. Hey, Barcelona. Very cool. I got a lot of friends from places all over the world, and Barcelona is a beautiful place. So Kristen-E. So good to see you, my friend. Great to see you. Oh yeah. We're definitely going to cover some of the information that I did on the conference, and I'll let anyone access that in just a couple of minutes for anyone that's curious. Also wanted to say thank you. Got a friend with the check mark, Ghost Mafia 13. So on DLive, thank you very much. I feel like I've seen that name before, so welcome and thank you very much. So Steven, good to see you. Always great to see you. He says, let's see, congrats on the conference speech, Bran. And that's exactly what we'll do. We'll just jump right into it now, because we got maybe about, I think, an hour and a half-ish until Hexologist gets on. So we're going to stream until then. All right, let's go to BallietBran's YouTube channel real quick. 1 second here. Let's do it on a new tab. YouTube.com/BallietBran. And for anyone that also may be interested, you can also go to, thanks to Maddie Allen, I found this out, but you can go to allmylinks.com/BallietBran, which is right here in the cursor, and you'll be able to access all my information as well. All right, so let's go to share a screen, and I'm doing this on Brave. The cool thing about just about applications and whatnot getting better over time is something like Brave. You can go to go.hex.com. You can do StreamYard, all of it from Brave, and that way you're not getting plundered with ads. So that is something that's really, really cool. All right, so let's share the screen here. This is my channel for anyone that is not familiar. Just youtube.com/BallietBran. All right, so I'm gonna just share with you guys some of the stuff that I've done recently that I didn't necessarily stream myself. So the most recent thing that I did was actually yesterday. So with Gary funding Jim, I downloaded the video, so this is technically his live stream from yesterday that we did, and all of the information itself is in the actual description here. The first link, I wanted it to be Gary's information. So this was the original stream. Gary had it going out to like 9 different channels, which is just amazing. But he said, profiling Hexicans, let's meet BallietBran. So that was a really good stream. I like Gary a lot. He's actually going to be coming on my channel sometime soon. Yeah, the candles. Yeah, exactly. Kind of just like a homage or a tribute. But Gary is going to be coming on my channel soon, and him and I are going to kind of cover the taxation side of things. We're going to talk about Puerto Rico, establishing LLCs and whatever kind of corporations or companies for possible Hexicans looking to maybe pay a little bit less taxes by actually providing some sort of value via like a business or a company type deal, or even just switching residencies, like I mentioned, to Puerto Rico maybe, or other countries that have different tax advantages. So him and I are going to cover that sometime soon. We need to schedule a date and time, but when we do, I will make sure to let all of you know ahead of time. All right, so that was yesterday. Gary had me on. Once again, thank you very much. And then this was my little segment at the HEX Changes 2021 conference. So this was on Wednesday, January 6th. And then actually yesterday, January 9th, was the last day of the conference. So Richard Hart, he hit it off. He did Richard Hart did a great keynote, and Maddie, Allen, and Alan had a great presentation about self-health with Richard Hart as well. So yeah, thank you for the candles. And then Marco, good to see you again. He says, yes, would love to hear that talk. Yeah, exactly. I don't know if we'll play it right now just because it's like 9 minutes and I already had like a 15-minute intro. So I don't want to, bog anyone down without too much interaction. But maybe I'll premiere it later. But yeah, this was my my speech with Maddie, and you actually can't hear it because it's all on mute. But so that's something that I did recently was the HEX Changes. And then this is just my channel in general. We got a couple of days ago, I had Crypto Lifestyle Club, and this gentleman, he's going to be creating a school where I think he'll be teaching people like MetaMask and how to do transactions on Hex.com, stuff like that. Kind of some of the basics to my knowledge. Okay, so since we're on here already, we might as well flip back, and we're just gonna take a look at some Hex information, and yeah, we'll have a good time. Let me stop sharing the screen real quick, and let's see. Oh, okay. Oh, cool. So I just got back to the. One second here. We might have something going on here. Hey, cool. Let's do it. Yeah, Dave. Let me send you the invite link right now. So this is actually going to be pretty cool. We're going to have another Hexican on. Let me copy this link, Dave. And thanks for reaching out, dude. I'm so sorry. I'd meant to get back to you out the other day, a couple of days ago. So I'm sorry about that. But let me share the link. Yeah, Dave, that link should just be similar to. Okay, I see your messages now. That link should be similar to the New Year's StreamYard, where all you got to do is just set up your camera. So we're probably going to be having another Hexican coming on, and yeah, we can actually take a look at his chat. No, his name is Dave, 8-Bit Dave. Let me show you. Well, that's at least his username. Let me show you his channel real quick here. He's got a YouTube channel and Twitter. Let's share a screen real quick. Cool. So this is Dave, Dave Dittman, and he's also a Hexican. You can see, a lot of the Hexicans follow him, and joined 2015. And so this is his channel, and then he does have a YouTube channel as well. Let me try and find that real quick here. Okay. And maybe we'll come back to the actual channel there. But so yeah, he's most likely going to be joining. He's like I said, another Hexican, and I we share a couple things in common, so we want to have him on and kind of see what his experience is like, but with Hex and whatnot. And I think his wife does some maybe videos too. Merlot Mama, I guess is her nickname there. But hope everyone liked the conference itself. This was on I believe day 2, but we had Freddie Quotes. Freddie Quotes did a live video of the Hexican anthem, and then he had pre-recorded it actually, so it was I guess a pre-recorded, not a live version. All right, so let's let's cover some information. Let's just see what Richard Hart's up to. So let's go to Twitter. And if you go to tweets and replies, I can see real quick what take your time, Dave. Take your time, man. I got all day until Hexologist gets on. So you got an hour at least. Okay, so Richard Hart was kind of talking recently about some some rights and freedoms and whatnot, and this lady was saying like, oh, if Ethereum is this cycle's Bitcoin, then what is this cycle's Ethereum? And Richard's alluding to that's going to be Hex. Let's see. So we got some more information. He's talking about Restream. Restream's a great platform. Okay, so yeah, we got some information there. Let's maybe stop the share screen and see what the actual Hex price is up to. Because at the end of the day, thanks again, Steve, for this. At the end of the day, everyone loves up and to the right, right? So let's get back and let's just see what's going on. We can take a look at the wallet too. And just with the interest that we're getting, 38, 36, 37% on a consistent and regular basis, those are some numbers you can't really joke around with. And when you see those numbers, it's like, okay, this is the opportunity to be in, right? So let's go back to uniswap.hex.vision. Oh, cool. We got Dave in the chit chat real quick. All right, yeah, let's actually get Dave. Cool. The screen sharing was canceled. Yeah, let's get him on here. I guess just maybe give me a thumbs up in the back if you're ready. If you can hear me, just give me cool. All right. Yeah, we're gonna have another Hexican come on, 8-bit Dave. So let's add to stream. 1 second. Here he is. Hey, can you hear me? Okay.
You bet. And I hope you can hear me. I'm using the Mrs. phone here, so I don't actually have a webcam or anything like that.
Hey, you sound good, man. I can hear you just fine.
Okay, right on. Well, thanks for inviting me on. I appreciate it.
Hell yeah, man. Yeah, thanks for coming on. I know I've seen you a handful of times, and I've actually followed your channel for quite a while, but it was cool to see you on the New Year's Eve. Were you climbing a tree, or was it a scaffold?
Yeah, it was a scaffold in the backyard. I couldn't think of anything to do. I don't have any talents that make for great entertainment, but I thought, well, let's just have some fun in the mix here. So
that's awesome, man. That's cool. Yeah, no, I tell you what, the New Year's was a great time. The stream itself was amazing.
Yeah, for sure. And well, personally, where I am, they have strict lockdowns, so you're actually not even allowed to go anywhere other than be in your house. So,
okay, yeah,
you get a lot of pent up frustration. So jumping through the snow and all that is the most fun I could have. Eh? So,
do you have any like snowmobiles or anything like that? Like any snow toys?
Not personally. I guess,
okay, yeah, okay.
I was self-employed for a lot of years, so I owned at one point 6 different trucks and all these quickie saws and generators, and I got so frustrated with gas engines and repairing things. And then one day I was just like, I don't want to own quads or anything that I ever have to fix. I don't want it. So.
Right. Well, that's awesome, man. I guess, yeah, for maybe the Hexican community that's maybe not aware, do you want to maybe introduce yourself and kind of how long maybe you've been in Hex, or maybe
yeah, sure. I call myself 8-Bit Dave, and I spell the 8 with like the 8 as if you ate food. Just a little play on words because I like food, and I like 8-bit technology because I'm getting old, so it's nostalgic for me. And I discovered Bitcoin in 2012, but I was very frightened to enter it because I had this feeling like there's a Satoshi and he has this big wallet of Bitcoin, and I always had this hidden fear that everybody's going to join the ecosystem, make it all awesome, and then he's just going to dump all over us. And that fear turned out not to be a thing. And so when the opportunity to join Hex came around, even though there was a lot of FUD of like, oh, well, there's this OA address and it's going to have a lot of coins, I saw past it because I already lost out once big in my life. And I thought to myself, you know what, I'm hopping in on this on day one. And so I was there on day one. And, at the time, everyone joked about it, buying at a high price. But looking back, it was obviously a low price. And so it all came out in the wash. And sometimes when things are new, it's a good idea to dip your toe in and not be afraid, right? So
that's so true. And when did you find out about Richard Hart? So you said you've been in Hex since day one. How long, I guess, have you? You said about 2012 maybe was when you got into crypto-ish?
Well, I learned about crypto in 2012. I didn't actually get involved in crypto till 2014 because of my aforementioned fear of participating in something and getting dumped on. So in 2014, I started mining Bitcoin and then made a lot of mistakes. I was on an exchange called Cryptsy that went belly up, and I had a lot of coins on there. And just over the years, and that's why when I started watching Richard Hart maybe in the beginning of 2018 and just right at the peak of 2017, beginning of 2018 of the last bubble. And I felt he was just being honest about a lot of things and being somebody who made all kinds of mistakes throughout my crypto journey, and just listening to him talk, I was like, well, what he's saying is true. Like there's lot of validity to everything, and I could relate to a lot of these mistakes because it's like, yeah, I did that. Yeah, I lost some coins there, and then I liked everything about Hex, right? And it addressed a lot of things that weren't really openly talked about, or people aren't concerned about anymore. But he was just out there, kind of like a beam of light. So.
That's very true, man. I kind of had a similar experience in 2017 where Richard Hart wasn't the only like quote unquote like influencer that I was like following at the time. And but everything that Richard said, like 99% of what he said turned out to be exactly right. And I agree. I kind of felt the same authenticity when listening to Richard Hart back then. That's cool.
So for yourself, like when did you kind of get into the whole crypto space?
Yeah, so in around, it was like mid-March to like April was when I got in. 2017 was when I got in. I'd actually unknowingly, I'd forgot that I'd used Bitcoin maybe one time before. That was like Circle, like some sort of Circle application that was used as a payment, and I'd used that like as early as January 2017. But then didn't actually like really understand what this was until like March, April was when I got into my first altcoin, because it's similar to a lot of people. Like, I was Bitcoin at the time. In hindsight, it wasn't that expensive, maybe like $2,000. But then I saw like people talking about like, oh, Litecoin is the digital silver to Bitcoin's digital gold, and so I got into that, and then I didn't even know what I was like working with at the time, like. Just as far as like what that technology, what this actually is, and how it kind of caters to a lot of the ideals that I like, the sovereignty and whatnot. But it wasn't until maybe like 2 or 3 weeks later that I was back on a Reddit forum, and someone had mentioned the price of Bitcoin had gone up, and go back into the wallet, and it was like nearly double. And it's like, wait, what is this? What am I working with here? And so yeah, 2017 was definitely a learning learning, just continuous learning since 2017 when I got in.
Yeah, see, sometimes I kick myself because I knew about it so early, and I discovered Bitcoin by accident in 2012. I'd done a bunch of paperwork. I was self-employed at the time, and then I cleaned my room, and it was a weekend. I had no estimates to do, so I was bored, and I sat down at my computer. And when I was younger, I was into programming and all kinds of stuff, and thought to myself, I haven't been involved in tech in a long time, so I just typed into Google, what's new on the internet, and I hit enter, and like one of the first things that showed up somewhere on that first screen was like Bitcoin.org or something, and then I read about it, and I was like, oh, that's interesting, but I was like, someone will figure out how to hack it or like make an inflation bug, and I understood it, but I thought like, well, everything has bugs, and there'll be bugs in this too, and back then, right? Like the 2010 inflation bug was still recent in people's memory. So I figured, of course, there's going to be more, and, you know, there's going to be all kinds of issues. And it turned out not to be that way. But, you know, it's funny, like Richard, he talks about these kinds of things. I don't know if the cat's choking on something here or what.
It's all good.
Anyways, but, you know, he's one of the only people still mentioning these things. And you see people on Twitter today, like, oh, Bitcoin, 100% uptime and bug free and all that. And it's like, it wasn't. Like, I remember when I discovered it and you went onto the Bitcoin Talk forum, which is back where most people were talking about it back then. Like, these things were still, you know, being sorted out. And I still remember Andreessen there wanting to make the block size 15 megabytes back when it still had a shot and all of this stuff. And there was still a controversial space, and people forget, they just look now and say, yeah, it's awesome. And that's what I liked about Hex, is these kinds of problems and how the code is modular from the rest of Ethereum. For somebody who was exposed to the space early, it's definitely like he addressed all my old school fears that maybe people don't concern themselves with anymore. So
exactly, man. That's really cool. I didn't know how much of an OG you were, man. That's awesome.
Well, I was a no coiner for those first 2 years, and in 2014 I bought an ASIC miner called a Rockbox, which I don't know if anybody knows what those are anymore. And I started mining back then, and it was just a tiny, like 100-watt little box. You could just plug it in anywhere in your house, and you got like 0.1 Bitcoin a week. And it just ran, and I mined all this Bitcoin, and then I lost it on when Cryptsy failed, and then I was frustrated with the whole thing. Everybody made fun of me for even talking about the space. I tried to tell people, and people around me, and they'd be like, oh, that idea sounds crazy. And, you know, and then when I lost a big chunk of my stack, I went on Satoshi Dice one night, had a few drinks, and I decided, well, this Bitcoin's never going to go anywhere. So I just blew it all gambling for fun, hey, and there it all went. So, and then I got back into it again in 2016. So
that's cool, man. So yeah, I guess as far as like Hex goes, so you've been in since day one, and you know, yeah, had your experiences with crypto. How do you like the Hex community? I know I kind of shared with you I mean, you probably already knew about it before, but have you been watching any of the HEX Changes conference yesterday or the days before? Or?
Yeah, I knew it was coming up, and I wasn't quite sure when. So you know, one of the things is I love the Hex community, and it's growing so fast. It's actually hard for me to keep up with everything. Like I remember before when it was just, there was a handful of guys, and, you know, at supper time, I'd watch a few minutes of Hexologist because it was, you know, the time zone thing had made it right when I was eating supper every day. I could watch the AA lobby switch over. And yeah, and then you sent me the link, and then so that evening I actually caught the first day of it, and I've watched a little bit since, but I was out in the country, so I'm gonna have to catch up to it. But yeah, like I see a lot of potential and promise with everybody in the Hex community, even somebody like yourself. Like I noticed, I kind of just keep tabs on it, and I go to watch things, and then everywhere I look, I see, you know, you're kind of like a coach or something. Like just giving everybody the props. Everywhere I go, I see you being there before me. You've always made some kind of comment or, given somebody the thumbs up or a like or whatever. And I think that's one of the things that in one of my previous videos, I had mentioned, like, I'm on Twitter, you find me. And if you're a Hexican, like, I'll definitely follow you, no problems there. And on YouTube, when I discover anybody who's doing anything to do with Hex, I try to follow and thumbs up. Unfortunately, I don't have enough hours in the day to absorb all the content, but I think it's one of those things, if we could all do what you're doing, where we could just help each other out and give the props out there and the encouragement, and that will help all these algorithms show this content to other people in crypto or possibly even no coiners, and just get the message out there, right? Which is important at this point in time. Because I feel like this last phase, when the big payday happened, it was called the adoption amplifier, but I think it should have just been the distribution amplifier personally. It just distributed the coins, but now is the adoption phase where we got to work to bring people to Hex and get it adopted. And that might take 2, 3, 4, 5 years. But, looking back in Bitcoin, like, it kind of seemed like a waste of time years ago. And then you look where it is today, and there's no reason the Hex community can't do the same thing, right? You need adoption. You need the word out there. You need to explain to people how, like, I lost money. And that's why I talk about those things in the past, how I lost from centralized exchanges and just foolish mistakes that I did, and teach people to not be like me, right? Because I'd be retired now had I not made those mistakes, but I made them. And this product solves that.
It's so true, man. And Big Pep and Barely Crafty and everyone else, Steven, good to see you all in the chat. I totally agree, man. I've done the same thing, and honestly, even in Hex, where there was so much like pent up like energy, where on like day one, a lot of people like FOMO'd in and whatnot, but I didn't really know MetaMask that well at the time, and had when you're copying and pasting and kind of learning how to do that wasn't from a Trezor. I accidentally sent some of the Ethereum to the contract address and not not the other one. Mentioning it. So, anyways, to your point, like you learn from your mistakes, whether they be more rookie than others, and those are kind of the things that make us who we are today. But I tell you what, all it takes is one experience like that to realize, shit, dude, I don't want to do that again. Like, lose any money. So that's cool that you've learned from your mistakes and experiences, and then I've done the same thing, because some people, they would get like wrecked in crypto or wrecked in something, and then it turns them off to never want to do that again.
Yeah, and that's understandable. But I think if the Hex community keeps growing, and then content and discussion like this makes it further, so that people who are just entering crypto or whatever, you can learn from the mistakes of others and make better choices. Maybe taking some coins and locking them in, right? Like, if you could lock in Bitcoin for a decade, well, things would be different for me. But instead, I had a night where I thought, whatever, waste of time, gambled away on Satoshi dice. Well, it was a bad choice, right? I was kind of bummed that I lost half my stack on an exchange, and then just figured out to heck with the rest, right? And so again, I think the Hex community is doing awesome things. I like, just how close-knit everybody is, and I realize most guys are on Telegram. I've never been on there, and again, my time's kind of limited, but I do my best to watch what I can. And I was actually watching Big Pep there talking to the other day as well, and
what's your favorite thing about the community, or like maybe not even about the community, I should have said, but like just about Hex, like whether the contract itself, the immutability, you mentioned Bitcoin has had inflation bugs, like as someone like yourself that's been more experienced, what's your most
It's
favorite
kind of
if you have?
a combination of things. Like obviously the easy one is the staking, right? And it's trustless, and the fact that it's what's called, or what used to be called, cold staking. So a lot of cryptos you stake, like I still from long time ago have a Redcoin wallet, but in order to stake you have to run this node, and then when they do an update and you don't update your wallet, you end up going on your own chain, and you're just constantly monkeying around with this stuff. So the fact that Hex is like cold staking and that you don't have to run an active node, you know, for the whole network in order to stake is nice. And then, you know, as you just mentioned, the fact that it's separate from the Ethereum code, right? So like when you have a coin, and I'm not trying to, you know, say shit on Redcoin or something, you know, but
Sure, yeah.
like where the staking is part of the coin, you could have a bug in everything, which has happened in a lot of coins when you do a wallet update, right? Because the wallet code is part of, you know, everything else, and Hex is separate from that, being its own contract. You know, if Ethereum has problems, that's Ethereum's problems, right? It's not Hex's problems. And so I like that. And again, maybe that's kind of like, as you put it, like an OG type concern from a long time ago. And yeah, like those would be my two favorite things. It's just, you know, you can trust that the contract's going to do its thing, and that it's cold staking, and that I don't have to do anything for it. Because over the years, just like you said, you discovered Litecoin and all these other things. I dove deep into every altcoin there was, and you could probably quiz me on any old school altcoin and I would know about it, or run a wallet, or run a master node, and all this junk. And it's just a big waste of time, right? This is beautiful. You just lock your coins in, and you're getting rewarded to lock your coins up. Simple. Do you have to do anything? Do we have to pretend that we're doing something awesome? No, because a lot of these coins, you're just doing stuff, but it doesn't really do anything. It would function just fine without it, right? And so yeah,
you know, yeah, it's a good point that you meant that you make. I mean, it's such a simple concept. Like one of the things that Richard has mentioned before is, if you're going to have programmable money, something like cryptocurrency that you can program and make it a currency, then the first thing you should do is interest. You know, do what the banks have done with their things. And anyways, yeah, it's really cool to see what's really come of it, because in 2017, as I mentioned, Richard was one of the many people that I was following, and I could always kind of tell, like, I always feel like I've had like a good judgment of character, but with him, it was always like, man, you know, this guy's more legit than the rest. You know, he's not doing these, you know, these stupid faces for the thumbnails and all this thing, or clickbait titles and whatnot. So, but the point is that it's really cool to see, especially for someone like yourself that's been in since day one as well. But it's really cool to see like how well it really has done, and it's exceeded my expectations by a long shot, even already.
Yeah, honestly, it's exceeded my expectations too. I thought it was going to go down further, like in that first month. You know, I thought it was going to drop even more, and then I thought, yeah, it's going to go up, but I didn't think it would hit a penny in the first year. And honestly, I had some ETH set aside because I thought after the big payday, I kind of figured the OA might stake a little bit. I didn't think it was going to stake fully. And I expected the price to drop a lot further. Like I thought it would hit, you know, its lows again, and it didn't. Like it actually stayed well above its lows. And I could have never predicted that. There was some FUD around that time period of like, oh, well, there's going to be all these billions of coins and there's only so many thousand of ETH. But, you know, it's a liquidity pool, right? So you might see these two numbers, but that ETH number, it isn't a stagnant number. It's not a static pool. It's a liquidity pool. So the amount of ETH can change and go up as well as the price drops. You had me there like buy, you know, and that's what I do. Sometimes I just go on Uniswap and I check. And if I see somebody's like maybe dropped a whole bunch of Hex, like, you know, a while back, a couple days ago, I saw somebody spend like cash out, like, a few $100K of Hex. And so that causes the price to drop. I was in there right away transferring Bitcoin and then just buying some more Hex. And so I watch for those drops, and I guess I'm not the only one doing it, because it seems like every time the price drops, there's just, vultures like me in there trying to buy it up. Hey, like, something on the side of the road. It's like, hey, look at that. I'm all over it. And so I'm surprised at the elasticity of the price. Like, it doesn't drop like a stone. It goes down and then comes back up. And so I'm really impressed. I definitely, it's unlike any other crypto I've been involved in.
Exactly. Yeah, this is kind of just where we're at right now. I mean, it's steadily staying over a penny,
Yeah.
And it's just really cool to see. I mean, I'm obviously not like a technical analysis guy per se.
Yeah, neither am I.
It is cool to see that the times that this right here, where we had the New Year's pump to 2 cents, we never really went over a penny. So that was kind of the only thing that I wanted to mention. To your point, was that it's just really cool to see that something like Hex, a lot of people, they share similar. They see the qualities that Hex has, and they see that in their investments. Like, a lot of smart money, sometimes they don't want to get left behind, and when they're looking for new projects, or products, like in Hex's case, but when they're looking for like what to put their money in, what to get yield in, something like Hex is like the safest thing when it comes to a cryptocurrency. It's like the safest thing you could put your money in. And sure, there's going to be volatility, but even if you were to hold for, say, just a year, you would have done damn well. And that's not even including staking. If you stake too, just the whole concept of it was absolutely genius. And for even when the OA did stake, we're still getting like a 3, when 100% of the wallets is staking, you're still getting like a 3.69.
Yeah.
So that's not bad.
The OA staking did another thing that I've never heard anybody talk about, and I mentioned in a little video that I shot, but I haven't posted yet, is, when they measure market cap, which I understand it's a vanity metric, but nonetheless, it's a metric everybody looks at. They show Bitcoin's network, like the market cap of the network, and they include Satoshi's wallet in there. They include all the coins that are lost and will never be spent. And that's really unfair. And Coin Paprika, they don't show like the origin address coins, which is fair. But you could actually make the argument by staking that is a proof of keys event, that those aren't just dead coins. And it would be fair because they've participated in the economics. You could make the argument then to state that this should be included in the market cap because they have and do participate. And they're not just, like, say, if you pre-mined 1 trillion coins and put it off to the side just to boost your market cap number. And it's not. It's actually something that's participated and in the future may participate more. And that's fine. And, people need to wrap that into their head, that it's not there just to boost the market cap. It's actually there to participate, be part of the economy. And it seems like in a positive way. And, and so I would say it would be fair to include it in the market cap. I still like Coin Paprika, but Nomics, they include all the coins, right? And so.
I agree. Yeah. If it's going to be for one, then it should be for another. And yeah, there seems to be like, quite a lot of, I mean, as you and I both know, a lot of gatekeeping and whatnot. So for someone like yourself that's been in the space much more than I have, that's kind of seen a little bit more of it, what are your thoughts on the gatekeeping and as far as like the adoption goes? To me, it feels like, I mentioned this in one of the streams prior, where it feels like not only can I feel like momentum and like amplification of like Hex seeming to be getting like more popular, but it feels like a dam that's like about to break open. But what are your thoughts on the gatekeeping and kind of where we're heading to virality?
Yeah, I kind of have a feeling that sometimes like CoinMarketCap was the de facto standard in the past, and they're kind of the kingpin of gatekeeping Hex at the moment. But one thing I've noticed is when a company that's trusted and people enjoy using it gets bought out, and then there's games being played, they slowly lose market share and become insignificant. I'm going to use Steam as an example. So I used to post on Steam or Steam It or whatever you want to call it. Then Justin Sun bought Steam It, the company, which held a large chunk of Steam, the blockchain, and there was all this drama around it. And guess what? The place is a ghost town now. And I think as time goes on, CoinMarketCap will be more of a ghost town as other people start using other coin sites. And not just because of the gatekeeping, it's just changes in general. Like, for example, I still liked using their app on my mobile phone, but they removed the pricing in sats as like a default for whatever reason, and they show the price in dollars. And that alone just irritated me to the point of deleting it because I couldn't figure out how to change it back to the way it once was in the past. So I like comparing things in sats because that's how we did it in the old days, and I'm old and I want to continue doing it that way.
What
And
application was that?
the CoinMarketCap one for the mobile phone. Yeah, and so it used to show sats, like dollars, sats and ETH, like what the price of a thing is. So as they tinker with their own success after being bought out, I don't think it's going to be a draw. I think over time they'll disappear and there'll be a new CoinMarketCap site that's dominant. And so I don't worry about the gatekeeping too much because in the end, you can't keep things a secret forever, right? Like the more bodies you bury in the desert, just the more bones there are to see in the future when the wind blows all the sand away. And it's all going to come to the surface one day. So
it's very interesting. And, with something like Hex, it's so good. I mean, I guess as far as some of the comments are saying, like Steven is saying, the design is flawless. Richard Hart at the conference mentioned bigger pays better is a tool to make the network more gas efficient. I agree. That's awesome. Same thing with the longer pays better too. I guess as far as Hex goes, do you have any lessons you've learned? I mean, in regards specifically to staking. So for example, someone that's even having a stream right now, Dollar Cost and Ryan Lopez, they've mentioned in the past, stakes every month or every week, or even he had some daily stakes just as an example. For me, that's a little bit too often, but do you have any experiences that you've learned from?
Yeah. So I'm not OCD, but I do have one thing is I like big even numbers.
Yeah.
So sometimes I would buy Hex, or when I did my free claim on that first day, and you have no idea what the value of this was going to be. And back then, ETH transaction costs were nothing. So I remember I had 4 Hex left. So I staked it for 10 years. And I had one stake of I don't know if it was 21 Hex, and I staked it for a year. So that just came due recently as 21 Hex, right? And then I went to unstake it, and it's a $35 fee. So then I have to think about it. Am I going to spend $35 to unstake my 21 Hex? And I thought, well, heck yeah, because you know what? I ain't letting any of that stuff go to waste. So you know what? I paid the $35 to unstake my 21 Hex, or to end its stake. So I wish I hadn't done things like that. I wish I hadn't staked so much so close. Because even though I liked Richard Hart, and like I said, everything he said made sense, and I was in on day one, in all honesty, I was in it for a 1 to 5 year term. Mm-hmm. So everything I had staked, I had staked for short term, to come out right after the big payday. And my longest stake was 5 years. And then I was renovating a house, like a rental. And, it was quiet there. I was there for 2 weeks renovating it between tenants. And that's when I discovered Discourse Syndicate. And I just had my phone on in the background all day, just listening to any Hex content. And this is where the community comes in. And I started listening. There's more and more people all excited and pointing out about how they're ending stakes early to stake out longer, realizing these issues and things like that. And then, so I did that with a couple. And then at that point, I FOMO'd in even more, right? Like I pulled out my paper wallets and, like on that chart you were showing how it goes up, a month before the big payday or whatever. I helped make that. I was cashing out of Bitcoin and I was like, oh man, like I should have been even in this more. I was in day one and I bought for a while. I averaged in a little bit and then I kind of lost track. Yeah, there it is. And I went in hard and I staked out for a long time. And I don't regret it. I've done well. And that's the awesome part about being involved in Hex is if you are a short-term trader, or like me, I was like king altcoin trader. I just love trading alts. Here and there, I've traded a bit of Hex. And when I've made a mistake, it's never been a mistake. Because say I've bought too much and like the price didn't jump like I expected. Well, you know what? I'll just stake it for 5 years and, deal with it then, right? So I kind of feel like you can't lose, right? So
it's really cool, man. I've got a lot of people sometimes that I was never necessarily the one to be like, oh, look at what I'm doing, look at what I'm doing. But the people that were curious, at least with my results or with what I was doing, like some of my family members were like, man, what's this Hex stuff that you're always talking about? And it was actually kind of cool I'm glad I had this idea like 3.5 months before Christmas, because one day I was just sitting here at my girlfriend's apartment and I had gotten like 3 airdrops from the uni, like the Uniswap airdrop. Yeah. And I was like, man, I could buy this and that, but long story short, I set up a whole bunch of separate wallets with their own seed phrases for my brothers and the girlfriend and whatnot, and got them their own Hex wallets and staked them out for their birthdays and for Christmas for like the next like 1, 2, or 3 years, I believe. And it was really cool that like even in something like Hex, you might talk to someone about it and they might not like see the picture, but if you like them enough, at least you can like give them a little bit of Hex in the future, or they can kind of just see your maybe your interest or gains. Even like I showed my brother Staker app and they're like, holy shit, this is my interest. And it's like, yeah, that's yours. And it's really cool what the people like Steph and Firebun are doing like with that application. It's really cool.
I still haven't checked it out, but one of these.
Holy
Pardon?
Shit! You haven't downloaded it yet?
So the phone I use, my smartphone, is actually a work phone, so I don't have a lot of apps on there. And I've been meaning to, but at any time I might have to surrender the phone back. So
I know what you mean, man. Yeah, like I have the same problem sometimes. Like when it's slow at my work, like if it was obviously my own computer, I'd be having like a different software that I browse with. Like at my work, they're only like they only let you use like Chrome or Firefox. But for me, I like why am I blanking on it? Brave, Brave, which is like a subsidiary of Firefox, and similar code, but just taken out with the ads. So I know what you mean, man. As far as like, yeah, you'd like to use it, but you're on a work phone.
But I will check it out one of these days. Like I've had the work phone for years. I just don't pay the bill for it, right? And so I'm one of those guys. I guess I'm like a company guy, as you call it. I try not to use data on it and all this kind of stuff because I know it costs them money. Here in Canada, like I know in the States, cell phone rates are super cheap, but up north here, they really kind of beat money out of you. So I know a lot of Canadians actually go south, get an American phone, and they get a post office box in the States, because in the States there's a lot of free long distance with cell phones, and then they just use it here in Canada permanently as their regular phone because it's that much cheaper. So
well, I guess then this question is perfect for you. So one of the people in the chat, welcome by the way, their name is Hextremely Desirable. But so they're talking with another person in the craft, barely in the chat, I mean barely crafty, and long story short, they're kind of talking about a friend of theirs recommended like a Google Calendar or some sort of calendar on your phone. Do you have any what do you do for like when your stakes end? Do you have so many that you keep track of them, or do you have any alert system since you don't have any staker app or anything like that? Do you just write it down or no?
I actually have an Excel spreadsheet.
Okay.
And I guess I used Excel because previously when I was self-employed, I used Excel a lot to make invoices and that kind of stuff. And I have a spreadsheet. And part of the reason why I have a spreadsheet is I just have my own little predictions on the side. And I guess every couple days I go online and I actually check my different hex addresses just out of something to do. Now that I'm trading less, because I used to trade a lot more, I still feel the desire that when I come home, I want to spend 20, 30 minutes at a computer screen looking at charts, right? And so to kind of, Hex has become probably one of my biggest, well, it is for sure easily my biggest stack of crypto now, right? Like everything else pales in comparison. And that's partly due to the giant gains, like monetarily wise, it's just, you know, become the biggest part of my portfolio, even though that's not where I'd stuck most of my money, but it's a good thing. And so, yeah, I like to peek on my gains there, and then I see, and I do have certain stakes, you know, obviously the whole birthday thing every year, and then there's certain months that I know they will come due. And right now in the short term, I have a whole bunch that are coming out because, as I mentioned, you know, on day 1, 2, and day 30 and all this stuff, I'd set everything for like 1 year into the future. And so once those are done, I'll have a more rigid plan. But yeah, I don't use Google Calendar, I guess. For me, because crypto is something that's always interested me, and I was always trading. Now that I trade less, so much less, I just still like looking at a chart, and so I just go to my, you know, Hex.com. What is it? Go Hex? Or I don't even know.
Go to Hex.com. Yeah.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah. And it's just the window's always open on the computer, so I don't even enter it.
Sure.
Right?
Oh, for sure, man. I know exactly what you mean. I guess a little bit more about yourself, if you don't mind. You said used to be self-employed and whatnot. How long did you do that for?
So I did that for 9 years, and at my peak, I had 9 employees, and I ran a masonry company. So bricklaying, stone, blocks, this kind of stuff. I'm a journeyman bricklayer by trade, and initially, earlier in life, I took computer programming, and it seemed like the thing to do in the late 90s. And then one day I had this thought, well, you know, what happens? The internet wasn't even common yet, but, you know, people had modems and BBSs and all this stuff. And I thought to myself, well, what happens when you hire somebody in the third world for, you know, $1 a day, and they can write the code and just send it via modem? Why do you need to pay somebody here up north lots of money? And you know, all the big programming jobs are down south or in other parts of the world. So I ended up getting into the masonry, had my own business, and it was good for many years, bought a place out in the country. And then as the numbers started slowly turning and there was a lot more competition, and, you know, like in the States, there was the housing bubble and crash and all that. There wasn't really a crash here, but there was a definite downturn in construction. Then I thought about it. I thought, that's a lot of stress. And so I just shut her down and became a commercial foreman. So built things like schools and condo complexes and that kind of stuff. So
that's cool, man. My grandpa had a construction company, and he'd build like a lot of like homes and whatnot. But yeah, I know what you mean. As far as even in like in the masonry business, I work with those people currently, and yeah, sometimes in those markets, yeah, there can be a lot of competition that might not make it the most worthy to keep it up, maybe. But so that's cool.
Yeah. And I noticed too in one of your videos where you talk about your hex journey, there's all these bricks in the background. So do you mind asking, like, where is that, or what do you do?
Yeah. No, exactly. So actually, I've got the binder here, that an extra binder at my work. So yeah, you know, this is just a hobby, like the YouTube videos and the live streams. But yeah, I work for work for this company actually, Mutual
Okay.
Materials, and they've actually got some
Mutual
places in
Material.
Canada.
I've bought their bricks here too. Allsips is the distributor here in Winnipeg. So
I was gonna say, I know they got some stuff that they do in Canada, but yeah, so I work for them, and I'm here in like the Seattle area, and they've got like many branches, just even in the Washington State area, but the one that I'm at is in Bellevue, Washington, and I just manage like all of the deliveries. So yeah, I was at my work, and I had seen like a message on Twitter of Richard Hart saying like, hey, for anyone that felt like I inspired them, can they do a testimonial for my website? And I was like, shit, dude, I'm at work. Like, this kind of looks corny, but I was just like, fuck it, I'm just gonna do it anyways. So yeah, that was at my work, and yeah, I work with the truck drivers in this. There's like a main building, which is like the main corporate office, and then I kind of work out like in this trailer separately with a couple other guys, and yeah, we make sure all of the deliveries go out on time, that it's the right product, and then we also work with the truck drivers hand in hand to make sure that the distribution does well. Like Home Depot, they've got a huge contract with them that they do that with.
well, you never know. Maybe the last time I laid those bricks, it was you who sent them out to the final destination. Hey.
Hey, could be, man. Could be. It's cool, It's I like.
It's a small world.
It really is, dude. It really is. I like being in like an industry where I can chit chat with a lot of people that are business owners and stuff like that, and a lot of the Masons, whether they work for like a commercial company or like a smaller business, it's always fun to learn, especially from people that own businesses. So.
Yeah, it's always exciting times.
Yeah, we got another guy that I've had on. I know you said you've kind of got like a similar problem that I have, where it's like there's so much Hex content, it's kind of hard to keep up. But this gentleman, Nardo, he's a guy in the States here, and he does some stuff like that too. Like the other day, he was working on his roof with a friend, and so he's in the chat as well, just saying hey.
All right, on.
Well, cool, man.
I'm on a phone here. Oh yeah, great to see you out here in the trenches. Yeah, it's good to see you too. Sorry, I got to lean in here. The text is a little small on the phone screen, so.
Oh, I totally know what you mean, man. The first time that I ever went on Discourse Syndicate with RG3, he's like, yeah, everyone come on in. I'll send out the link, and I tried it on my phone, and it's the shittiest experience. Like the phone is just, it's so tiny, and anyways, I've had a little bit more success with the computer, but that's cool that you're coming on. Do you have anything that, like, I don't know, maybe I'm not asking you, that you want to share, like anything that you're super excited about, like in the community, or just anything you want to share while we got you here?
Well, I guess one thing, it's not really anything to share, but I guess something that I'm curious to look forward to overall is to see how the scaling with ETH ends up. It's a kind of a curiosity for me. So I know like the Hex community was the first to kind of really embrace Uniswap, right? Mm-hmm. And I kind of feel like, just because the code and the contract is done, it doesn't mean we can't grow as a community. So I'm really curious in the next little while. I don't have a winner in my mind. Like, I'm not going to place a bet and say this or this will be the winner of scaling. But we know ETH2 will have sharding, so that'll easily help. And then, there is roll-ups. There's the ZK style, and then there's the optimistic style. And then also one thing that I'm kind of into, and I've created the first Hex liquidity pool on there a while back, and actually there are people using it, I don't know who, but is there's a Ethereum sister chain called XDAI, and I just moved a little bit of Hex there, and the transaction fees there are still about 500 transactions for a penny. And so I made a Hex liquidity pool there, and people are trading it. I go check it every once in a while. Again, I don't know who, I tweeted about it twice, and they're liquidity goes in and out. And so I'm curious to see what will happen with scaling. And that's one warning I have. And, you know, I'm not going to mention any names to crap on anyone else's project, but I just want to point out, like, in all seriousness, as somebody who's lost money in alts, you know, you have to be careful planting a flag on a certain piece of technology because it's shifting. And there are coins out there with a huge amount of liquidity permanently, forever, trapped in version Uniswap 2. And I say trapped, like at the moment it doesn't seem trapped because we're all using it. But as we can see, this isn't sustainable. And that's the nice thing about having a OA that's actually a conscious person and conscious people providing liquidity. Because, like, let's say I have liquidity, which I do in Uniswap version 2 and some on the XDAI sister chain. You know, if those turn out not to be the scaling solutions, let's say it all ends up on zksync.io or something in form of rollups, we can move that liquidity. And to see projects thinking that it's a good thing to lock something forever, like imagine locking yourself to using Windows 95 for the rest of your life. Like, that would be a mistake. And I think one day future versions of Uniswap are going to incorporate these scaling solutions. And so anybody perhaps getting involved in projects, and again, like, I'm not going to mention any names, I don't want to crap on anybody's deal here, but, you know, just as a warning, don't plant your flag on something permanent or have money locked into something. And that's the beautiful thing about the way Hex is. We don't need any third party. You know, like Uniswap could go to zero and it could all crash, but, you know, we could pull out and we can find liquidity elsewhere on 1inch or 0x DEX or something like this. We have all these options. And so that's something that I look forward to, but it's a little bit of a warning because I've seen things fail throughout all the years I've been in crypto. And just don't get involved in anything that's third-party reliant for eternity. I got a bad feeling about that, and that might not be a problem for another decade, or it might be in 3 years that ETH is so swamped that everything has to be on a layer 2. But, you know, we're in the clear on something like that. So.
No, I definitely agree. It's something that, to your point, when we were first staking, I don't even know when it started getting bad. All I know is it started getting somewhat bad. Was it used to be like a penny. Like, it didn't even matter. You can have like a million hex stake or 100,000. The amount didn't matter, but yeah, it'd be like 1 or 2 pennies for it to cost. But yeah, that is a good point that you make. I mean, I've heard some of the other people talking about, like, yeah, if they were staking, to have any of them end like anytime soon within the next like year or two, make sure that there are amounts that would be worth unstaking, because otherwise, you know, you're kind of just letting it burn. And when you mentioned your free claims, I had my free claims do that too. It was like 1,000 hex. Like, what am I gonna do with that? But anyways, it's cool how many like pumpamentals there are in Hex. Like, that is actually something that is kind of a pumpamental.
It is, and you know, I think the scaling's all going to come out in the wash, right? It's just a temporary pain, but in the end, in order to have scaling and to be able to have the staking price go down, the trading has to go elsewhere or be done more efficiently, and so there will be sharding eventually in ETH, which will reduce all the prices, and then you know, where the trading happens, it can't be in Uniswap version 2 forever. Like, version 3 will be more gas efficient, and eventually it will use optimistic rollups or ZK rollups, or just be its own side chain. Or, you know, one thing that nobody talks about is you could hypothetically have trading done through state channels like Raiden, like almost like a lightning network, where all the traders connect to Uniswap via state channels, and then you do all your trades, and then one day when you want to exit, it just drops back down into your Ethereum. And that would remove probably 80% of all the congestion on the ETH network. So I'm just curious to see how this will play out and what will be the winner technology. So I'm excited for that. And I feel like as the Hex community, we should be out there exploring all these different options and being good crypto citizens and, kind of being the first there like we were with Uniswap, right? So
how closely are you following, the Ethereum scaling and the sharding and whatnot? Because
pretty closely. Like
okay.
I spend about a half an hour every second day reading about whatever, not necessarily Hex, but I might read about different scaling things or progress being made. And so it's something that I follow pretty close. And it's my interest because, like I mentioned before, I went into the masonry. Programming was my interest, although I suck at it now. I tried doing it recently and I've forgotten more than what I used to know. So, but the technical side actually is interesting to me. I know we're all in it for the price, and I'm not going to lie. That's my big motivator of trying to understand all the tech, is so that I can do better on the price, right?
I gotta ask this question from Bitfinesse, and I do agree, but he says, what's the barbecue sauce stuff they put in bricks? What are they made of? What's that stuff for? Acme gets tanker load of it. Fire. Do you know what any of that is?
The barbecue sauce they put in bricks? I don't know.
Clearly he's joking there, but yeah, I guess it would just be mortar, maybe. I don't know. He's just pulling our legs, but
maybe he's talking about the bricks inside the barbecue. I've actually seen that where they sell little bricks instead of the rocks. How in the old days there used to be those lava rocks in the barbecue.
Yeah. I'm trying to think. I've never seen that either, but that's funny either way. Well, we got another off-topic question. So we got a couple wine enthusiasts in the house, and I know the Merlot Mama thing. Is that kind of like your favorite wine, or barely Crafty was saying? Did someone say wine? Is there any favorite you got while we're talking about barbecue brick?
Well, I like a wide variety of wines, I guess. So Melissa, or Merlot Mama as I call her, her and I, we do this little wine tasting thing and post it. And I actually grow my own grapes and make wine homemade. So I'm going to be biased and I say I like my wine the most. But after that, there's I like Wolf Blast, which I know is just the cheap, from Australia, the Wolf Blast Merlot. It's sold everywhere, probably throughout the States as well. And it's just something for cheap that I enjoy sipping. And I like Italian Proseccos, which are white and sparkling, kind of like a champagne. And obviously Dom is the king of wine. And it was funny, Richard Hart actually mentioned that was his favorite as well. So, but here it's quite pricey. We have strict liquor taxes in Canada, and specifically where I live. So here it's like $500 a bottle, and if I drive south across the border, it's like 120. So it's a big price difference.
Wow, that is a big difference, man. I had no idea.
Yeah, I go to American Costco's and it's like heaven. Hey, I look around, I'm like, wow, I can't believe how cheap and how huge the portions are and everything. 66s of vodka, stuff like that.
Dude.
So.
Yeah, especially at a Costco, man. Costco, I tell you what. Side note, I really like going to Costco. Always grew up going there, and they don't have anything in a small size. It's like super size. I mean, it's like a giant size option. So
yeah, and they get you with that, because here I always find myself buying things and then I never finish it, and it goes bad before I can eat it all. So
that's exactly right.
Yeah, but you're like, oh, it's such a deal. Like, why wouldn't I want 5 gallons of mayonnaise, right? I eat sandwiches, so I'm gonna use it.
It's true, man. No, it's true. Yeah, that's one thing. Yeah, I've kind of learned, and same thing with my dad too, where like, just because you're getting so much of it doesn't necessarily mean you got to consider if you actually are going to use it and not waste it. But but that's
so
cool,
that's my thoughts on wine. Like, I love Merlot, even though it's not considered it's usually fruitier. And then I like the sparkling, the bubblies, the Prosecco and the Dom, and champagne, of course.
Exactly. Nate J, he's also, he likes some wine too. He says Riesling for me, Shiraz and mead.
Yeah, I haven't had mead actually for a really long time, so I know that's made from honey, and
Okay.
it's a little bit different. So one of these days I've been meaning to try it again. And I like Riesling. I find it's really sweet. However, there was a vineyard I'd gone to in British Columbia, and they had a Riesling that was crazy dry, which, means it's not very sugary. And I really enjoyed that. And so there are some really awesome Rieslings out there as well.
So you said you grow your own grapes. How long have you been doing that for?
So when I bought the place out in the country in 2012, it was one of the first things I did. And so I'm in a really cold climate, according to a United States growing chart. I'd be USDA Zone 3, almost Zone 2, which means very little grows. And I managed to find some varieties of grapes that were experimental from the University of Minnesota, which is a similarly cold climate. And I just randomly planted different varieties, and so it took years for them to grow, and most of them died from the cold. And so yeah, it's been a few years, but I have the bulk of which are a variety called Valiant, which is a cross between a Concord and a North American wild grape. And a Concord is like Welch's grape juice, right, when you're a kid. So
I was just laughing. Got a little bit of distraction there. There was
no worries.
Audio. Okay, cool. We're back. We're back. There was there was like some sort of robot voice that was going on. That was kind of hilarious. But anyways,
well,
so
I'll check it out
cool.
on the rerun.
How many years did you say? How many?
Since about 2012, and I've been experimenting with different varieties, and my goal is so that when I retire, I have 1 acre of grapevines.
Oh, nice.
And then what I'm going to do is retire out in the country with my big bag of Hex. And then I'm going to spend my days eating picnics between the grapevines in the summer. And I'm going to lay there and eat cheese and drink wine.
That's cool.
And have huge fires at night. And that's my eventual dream, right? Just live out there permanently. I only live in the city for work, so I'm stuck with two places to live at the moment. But one day we'll narrow it down to one. So
I know what you mean, man. Yeah, my girlfriend lives here in downtown Seattle, and then I live in Bellevue, that's closer to my work, with my 3 older brothers and my dad. But that's cool, man. That does sound like a fun thing to do. Retire out in the country or somewhere where you got enough property and land to kind of do whatever the hell you want.
Yeah, and that's just it. And if you want to retire in a vineyard, if that's your retirement dream, well, you got to plant the grapes when you're a little bit on the younger side and can still do that, right? So, it's I'm staking my grapes as well as my Hex. Hey, the two are very similar, actually, if you think about it. So,
no, that's cool, man. Yeah, I used to. I never done wine or anything like that, but I used to do like kombucha, and I still have like the thing for the kombucha, but
okay.
Yeah, kind of fermenting it. Obviously it's not even close to what wine is, but that's cool that you got your own little hobby of doing the wine and whatnot. Do you make a decent yield from it, or is it kind of just personal stash?
Well, right now it's just personal stash. I've narrowed down the species that I want to grow that survive our cold climate. And so I'm going to be propagating those now in the next few years. And so I guess, with about 1 acre of grapes, I'll easily be able to do 1,000 bottles a year, which nobody could outdrink that then, right? I can have one with every meal, and then I'll be happily retired, right? So,
I've always wanted, like, I'd play sometimes like video games, and I don't play them anymore, but Oblivion they'd have like different wine cellars, and I always thought that was kind of cool, like having like your own like cellar or something like that would be cool. But Children of the Grave, he's actually in the chat as well, and he's welcome on this channel anytime as well. But he says, is this the man that was very talented climbing the scaffolding?
Yeah, that's me. Hey, I was climbing the scaffolding, having fun there, just trying to make a little excitement. Stuck at home for New Year's because of the lockdowns here. So,
how high was that scaffolding?
It's about 35 feet tall or whatever.
Nice.
And we couldn't take the phone all the way outside because the Wi-Fi wouldn't reach, and so we couldn't really get a good picture of it. But you know, whatever. Like they were asking for talents, and I was like, oh, like nobody at that moment when I was talking to Merlot Mama there, I says like, you know, let's just make a submission, no matter how silly, just you know, to help make some buzz, right? And it goes back to what I was saying when we first started talking is it's nice that the Hex community, we're all like supportive and trying to help each other out and making sure, you know, that we're all successful as a group, right? We're pulling each other up. So.
Exactly, man. It is kind of like one big like family unit. And yeah, some of the people in the chat were saying like that looked beyond cold. And as far as you being up there in the north, man, I don't know how you guys do it, because yeah, it gets pretty cold. The coldest I've been to was Alaska, where my cousins live in like Anchorage, like Fairbanks area, and it was like negative 20 or negative 25 at the time Fahrenheit.
Yeah.
But anything colder than that, man, is you know.
So you know what's funny is like in terms of the latitude, Anchorage is farther north than me, but because where I'm situated in the center of the continent, it's kind of like Siberia where it gets really cold. So it's normal throughout January for us to have minus 45 Fahrenheit, which is actually the same in Celsius, minus 45. And it's cold, right? Like you could take a pot of water, throw it up in the air, and it just turns to snow on the way down. So it's if 1 minute outside with some skin exposed, it's frozen, and that's it. So, but it is what it is, right? I grew up here, so that's what I know.
Hell yeah, dude. Yeah, I'm kind of the same way here in Washington. So that's
yeah,
awesome,
like Washington. So you're just south of like British Columbia in Canada, and so your climate there is usually what, pretty rainy, cloudy, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's notorious for the rain for sure.
Yeah, so.
Well,
but
cool, man. Well, cool, man.
Well,
yeah, dude, thank you. You know, for coming on. It's always cool
and I appreciate the invite, and I just wanted to mention again, you know, I really appreciate you know, all the positivity that you shoot out there all the time. Like I said, everywhere I go, I notice you were there first. Hey, you always liking or leaving a comment, and I think that's awesome. And you know, I really liked you know, you extended the hand and invited me on your live stream here, and that's great. So thank you very much for having me, and
thank you.
You have a good evening.
Hey, thanks, Dave. You know, you're welcome anytime. Glad we got the schedule to work out, and yeah, man, we can definitely do it again sometime if you ever like. And for anyone that's still in the chat, I'm gonna go until Hexologist goes in about 12 minutes. So I'm gonna let you get going, Dave. But you know, appreciate it, and yeah, catch you on the next time.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, guys. So we're still gonna be going, and just until Hexologist gets back on around 3:30 or 3:40 Pacific Standard Time is when he goes. So that was Dave, 8-Bit Dave. We can go back to his Twitter, and he seems like a really cool guy. I've followed his YouTube channel for a handful a month, almost a half a year now, and he's got some pretty cool content that he does. So that is on YouTube, and then we'll put it on DLive for anyone that isn't following him as well. So go check him out, and let's see, what else can we do? We can take a little bit of a look and see what the Hex price is doing. But yeah, it's always nice to meet a Hexican. So if anyone ever does want to come on, myself and Nardo, he was in the chat a little bit earlier. Him and myself still plan on doing something soon. And like I mentioned in the beginning of the stream, myself and Gary, Funding Jim, I was just on his channel yesterday, but we're going to be setting up kind of like a taxation stream, a stream about how could you set up a business and possibly have some tax write-offs, and what about Puerto Rico? Does it make sense to move to another country to maybe realize some of your gains, to maybe not get such a high tax bill. So that's something that we'll be doing with Gary sometime. For right now, we're just going to take a look at what the hex price is doing, and I do want to say shout out. Ryan just got done doing like a 5-hour stream. So cheers to you, man. That's some dedication, and that was really cool. I was watching the stream all the way up until maybe like 5 minutes before, like 1:40 Pacific Standard Time was when I had to get off. But cheers to you, man. You're a great guy in the community as well. And the cool thing about the Hexicans is a lot of us not only have our own unique stories, but a lot of us have some very unique and amazing talents as well. So Ryan's really good with statistics and analytical data, and he actually runs the Hex stats on Telegram. He's got like a Hex stats bot, I believe, that he runs and that goes out to. So Identity Block, he's saying that as well to Ryan. Good stream. So I had to second in as well. Good stuff. And yeah, Crypto Ross as well. He was in the stream with Ryan, and he was also on my stream the other day as well. Crypto Ross is a very knowledgeable man, and it's cool to see people coming on the channel and kind of sharing their information, because at the end of the day, I'm only one person, and sure, I've been in Hex since before day one, but I love having other people on the channel and love just learning from people. So yeah, what are in the Hex binders you have on your couch? Glad you asked, my friend. Glad you asked. Well, this one I'm not going to open because I actually got a couple of private keys in there, just written down on paper. But on this, we actually got Richard. Richard gave me the Sci-Vive, so I printed it out and printed a copy for myself of the new Sci-Vive. So this is just one of the. Let me do this real quick here. So that's one of them, and then yeah, this is just like one of the pages of one of the chat. Sorry, that was upside down. This is Sci-Vive. So I got like 4 different binders that are this size because shit was like 400 something pages. But so that's one of them. Another one actually, I took this photo from it, but that was myself in RG3. And I tell you what, Dave was talking about some of the Hexicans, including myself, before Big Payday, ending our stakes that were 50% and then staking them out again. And tell you what, earned a lot of T-shares there. Sculpting and ZBrush. If anyone hasn't checked this guy out, he's a friend of Crypto Kool-Aid, actually. And Crypto Kool-Aid was the computer, the CG designer that did the HEX Changes. Matty Allen's background for that. So check this guy out as well. He's a friend of Kool-Aid. He says, is that a copy of Sci-Vive different from the free outline? I went through the outline like a year ago. There's a lot of good info there. I got this one maybe like 2 months ago when I direct messaged Richard. So I think from what Richard has alluded to, I think he has mentioned that version that I have is on the Sci-Vive on Telegram, because he had one that was edited and published, which is this one, and then the one before it I had printed out as well, but it just it wasn't all the way edited. So yeah, Battered Bullets is captain RG3, and then actually El Hexidente, he was in Ryan's chat earlier. He's in, I think, the California area, but him and myself are gonna hang out sometime soon, hopefully, and some place in Washington State over here. So yeah, Sculpting and ZBrush. Let's I'd love to follow your channel a little bit more. But he says I was also, oh shit, good for you, man. I'm in like a little Slack channel with him, so I'll have to go back on that more. But he says I was also in Hex from the beginning. I'm half staked, half squid, or half liquid. Not squid, but half liquid. Yeah, that's cool. That's cool, ZBrush. And the cool thing about Hex is it's so different for every single person. If someone's maybe a little bit older and they plan on retiring soon, well, maybe their stakes are going to be in the 3 to 5 year range, or maybe it's just going to be in a lower year range. But someone like myself that's 24 and maybe has a little bit more time, to risk my investments, maybe I could push some of the Cuatro Cinco stakes out longer and feel more comfortable with that, as opposed to being so heavily weighted in the beginning. So that's one of the really cool things about Hex. So if we actually go to let's do this. So Hex itself, and I'm no TA god like I was saying, but this is just standard cup and handle from all the information that I've seen, and generally from this pattern, it makes the cup, and then the handle right here, and then this shit just blasts off to the moon. We're looking at maybe 3-cent Hex, something like that, sometime soon. Some sort of blast off from this, and we're also going to look at the wallet that I have, since we're on Brave, and since Hex allows this, we're going to go to the wallet that I feel comfortable sharing on YouTube. So we're going to go to go.hex.com/stake. And let's do that right now. Okay. So we'll go to go.hex.com first, and then we'll click the staking tab. So if you just go to go.hex.com with nothing else, just go.hex.com, you'll see that we have 33 minutes until the actual day rolls over to day 406. But it's just got some data information. One of the really cool things that was added to the actual website was this right here, the T-Chart versus USD, kind of like market cap or T-Share versus USD chart. And we can just see that way back in the day, the good old days, this was like January 5th of 2020, but we had T-Shares were all the way as cheap as like 60 cents, which was just amazing. So the price itself in USD has gone up significantly, like 350 something X, 352, I think. But in T-Share and in T-Share price and whatnot, we've gone up even more. So this just has some data as well. And then down here, we can kind of see, here's where the APY really gets fun. So on a pretty damn consistent basis, I mean, all the way since about November 23rd, we've had anywhere from like a 37 to like 40% APY average, which is absolutely amazing. So from here, you can just go straight to the staking tab, and then you'll just have to make sure your MetaMask is all hooked up, which we've got one of the wallets here for the YouTube public staking. So right now, the total amount of T-shares we have is 14.067, and then you can also change the actual staking end time, and you can see what days the earliest stakes are coming out. So the way that it works is the actual T-share. Right now, it's going to be 16,656 actually Hex for one T-share. And what that does is it gives you the trustless interest. We can see that yesterday, for each T-share that you have, the actual payout was 5.813. So you'd multiply that 14 by the 5.813, and that's the amount that you'd have. All right. So yeah, you think that's nice looking. I'll show you guys one of the OG wallets that I showed pre-big payday, and we can take a look at that sometime too. That one's fun to look at. Everyone should have a dream account, similar to what Kareem's talked about, and same with David Feeder. I mean, one thing that I've kind of learned, I've only ever showed two wallets publicly, which are this one and another one, but it doesn't make sense to show everyone everything you have, even though it's fun to do that sometimes. So yeah, David's in the house. He was there yesterday with Richard Hart on day 4 of the HEX Changes 2021. For anyone that doesn't know, it's going to be an annual event. So I'm happy to be part of that annually. And another thing that Richard mentioned, so a lot of times in the HEX community, you can stake anywhere from 1 day all the way to 5,555 days, which is 15.2 years. And a lot of us are saying like, oh, at the minimum, we'll be here for, another 15 years and 15 years. But in reality, it's longer than that, because, maybe 5 years, say 2025 or 2026, I mean, is when maybe that's when you start another stake for Quattro Cinco. So then that'd be 20 years. And anyways, I'm a happy member of the Quattro Cinco Club, and I'm happy to be in the Hex community for the rest of my life. So happy birthday, David Feeder. I guess it's I don't know how true that is, but if it is your birthday, then happy motherfucking birthday. So yeah, if it is, then I totally missed that. But yeah, David, good to see you. And yeah, Sculpting in ZBrush, same person that I was mentioning earlier, says Hex is better because it's trustless. Exactly. Oh shit. Yeah, David, he is 35 today. I feel like you mentioned that in a comment the other day, and I'm just remembering now. But congratulations, David Feeder. David's a great gentleman in the community, and he's got quite the story, man. I tell you, every time you talk about your story, or just talk in general, you can sense the you can, as someone like myself that is very person driven, and I feel like I can read people very well. Yeah, you definitely have a cool story, and I can tell you're legit. So it's cool to have a lot of people in the community. Yeah, everyone's saying happy birthday, the Sapper, and good stuff, man. And yeah, it is trustless. So, oh yeah, hey, another thing he says is, at the minimum, everyone should have a 1 year, 3 year, 5 year, 10 year, and 15-year stake ladder. If you have ever done banking at a bank and had a real CD, it's the smartest thing you can do. Exactly. I mean, if I pull up my Staker app, for anyone that doesn't know, you can just go type in Staker app on Google or the App Store, and it's an application that 2 developers have made, Steph and Firebun, for free for your using. But you can see like where your ladders end, and you can see like where you might need to actually space your stakes to have a good ladder. So I agree with that completely. I think it is important that people do ladders, and maybe not have. Sometimes I'll say like, oh, don't put all your eggs in one basket and whatnot, and sometimes I feel that way with stakes. I think we're seeing with the current Ethereum fees, yeah, maybe you don't have hex stakes that are like super small in amount. Maybe you up the amount of hex that you add in each stake, and so that's what some of the chat's saying. Bitfinesse, good to see you, man. He says CDs at the bank are a scam. 1% interest. The hell is that? What a joke. Yeah, it's funny actually. On one of Richard's most recent streams, one of the people was commenting about their dad and how their dad had set up a CD for a year, and they never told us the principal that was put in, but over like whatever the time length of the CD was, their dad earned like $11. And Richard was saying like, oh yeah, Northern, yeah, you can be a mod. And Richard was saying like, let me get some mods in here. But Richard was just saying like, man, that can't even buy you a good lunch or anything like that. And the cool thing about Hex is not only is it so early, one of the things that's in my intro is Big Pep, and he's telling the story that I can really relate to as a Washingtonian. But one of the people that he knows was saying how they were told like, oh, check out Amazon. It was Starbucks. It wasn't Amazon, it was Starbucks. But they're saying, oh, check out Starbucks. And long story short, some people, sure, yeah, they heard about Bitcoin in 2010 or 2011. But a lot of these people, they pretend like they would have acted on it back then. But no one knew how revolutionary of a technology it would be, and how things like Mt. Gox and whatnot would come up and make it available for people to exchange. So things like that really blew Bitcoin up in the gaming community and the communities in general, where it just took off. So a lot of people seem to say, like, even with Hex, like, oh, you're lucky, and sure, some of it is like timing and whatnot, but a lot of it at the end of the day is preparation. I know people that were looking at the Hex price at 20% of a penny, and they were saying like, oh, if it goes back to this price again, I'll buy. and it only went to like 25 or 26% of a penny. It didn't go to the level that they had wanted. And just because it didn't go all the way to the level that they wanted, they chose not to. And tell you what, I mean, now we're at over a penny. So it just goes to show you that the hex price can definitely get away from you. And now we're solidly over a penny for a little while, and it seems like anything under a penny is a damn good deal, if you ask me. Okay, let me actually look at my phone. I know Hexologist is going live soon, and I sure hope he's not live right this second. He's supposed to be going live soon, so we got maybe a couple more minutes, but I'm just gonna keep on the Twitch to make sure that I can host him when he goes live. But hey, me too, Liberty Lake, Washington. Hey, good to see you. Good to see you. I got family all over Washington and other states too, but Washington's cool. I like it. Bob Andre 53, welcome. Cool. This person's extremely desirable, shouting out a whole bunch of people. But Bob Andre says, I'm new to Hex and to Twitch. I have no idea what's going on. Hey, if you have any questions about Hex or about the staking or about any of the trustless interest, feel free to ask away. And myself and anyone else is definitely happy to answer them. Hex is great. It's one of the first products that you don't have to worry about a counterparty risk. When you go to your bank and you do that CD, the 3-year lock, 5-year lock, 10-year lock, whatever it is, you're not sure you're earning a little bit of interest, but it's absolute peanuts compared to the actual inflation that's going on during that time of the CD. So that's one thing a lot of people don't really consider in traditional investments is things like CDs anymore. They just don't seem to be lucrative at all. Like it seems to be a lose-lose, My dad always taught me like business should go both ways, not just one way. It should go win-win, not win-lose or lose-lose. So you want that to be a win-win. Hey, don't leave anybody out, bud. Exactly. Oh yeah. Benny, good to see you. Benny's a true OG, true Hexican OG. Yeah. So many people. I'm sure I'm missing a ton. And that's one of the things that Dave mentioned that okay, it's time to raid. It's time to raid. Let's go over. All right, 1 second here. Let me see. Nardo, thank you for the message. Let's go see if we can raid the Hexo. All right, guys, we're gonna raid Hexo right now. Thank you everyone that's tuned in, and we're raiding in like 3 seconds. All right, so. Thanks for everyone, all you do. I'll see everyone on Hexologist's channel. So Hex.doctor. Go in your URL and just type in Hex.doctor. Thank you, everyone. Good seeing everyone. Thank you, Nardo, for the reminder. And peace out, guys. See you in Slack.